Roger Stone, what the hell is going on?
Alex, this is the direct manifestation of a climate of hate that has been whipped up by the mainstream media, egged on by the left wing of the Democratic Party, their compatriots. This is the direct result of Kathy Griffin holding up the severed head of the President of the United States and their insane drive for regime change despite the facts. In the background, you have the special prosecutor, Mr. Mueller, moving aggressively to try to remove our president, to achieve what they couldn't achieve at the ballot box. And these are the shock troops, they think. This is extraordinary because we both know if this had been a Democratic congressman and a right-of-center shooter, we would be all over this because of the hateful ideology of the shooter. Now we're giving the shooter a pass, and mark my words, the media will come back and blame the president for creating the atmosphere that caused the shooting of a Republican congressman.
I don't get this beta death dance where they want a civil war they're going to lose. I don't understand it.
I think I can explain it. You see, they think this is Venezuela. They think that they can roll in with their thug tactics, and they can circumvent the rule of law, they can hijack the system, and they can undo the results of the last election. The point is, this isn't Venezuela, it's Colombia. And there are too many people in the country who are armed and committed to the rule of law, who are committed to truth. So if Mr. Mueller puts forward a bogus case against the president, despite all of the legal experts who have told us that there is no obstruction of justice, if having found nothing in the phony Russian collusion narrative, they now switch to, Trump's obstructed justice in his efforts to remove, to stop the investigation into General Flynn, I don't think patriots will stand for it. We're going to spiral into anarchy. We're going to have a cycle of violence like the country has never seen.
Exactly. So what do you think Wolf Blitzer and flashback Tim Kaine on Infowars.com, Loretta Lynch called for blood and death in the streets? I mean, every major Democratic publication calling for violence. What are they going to do when somebody, God forbid, kills Wolf Blitzer, kills Kathy Griffin, kills Bill Clinton, kills Hillary Clinton, kills him, and then they just say, it's just political. He wasn't evil.
No, they'll seek to blame us for anything that happens. That's kind of part of the narrative. And right now they could probably use a martyr. It's not good for their narrative that it was a conservative Republican congressman who was shot by some left-wing kook. That doesn't fit their narrative.
Who said it's time to destroy Trump and company.
But let's be clear, reprisals spawn reprisals, and pretty soon everything will spiral out of control.
But the good news is conservatives, libertarians are so restrained, I don't think we'll even respond. We're just going to keep letting them dig their grave. But they've got their big summer of rage. Soros has doubled the funding for riots, cop killing, all of it. What's going to happen?
Look, it kind of depends on a triggering event. In other words, Soros and the lefty shock troops need a course of action. The left within the Democratic Party has failed to make the case on Russian collusion. They are now going to try to make the case on obstruction of justice. And if that fails, they'll attempt to pretend that the president is mentally feeble, he's got Alzheimer's.
And you predicted that a few months ago. That's now
he's
the new
non-compos mentis. It's all BS. And we will see how far they go. Mr. Mueller is a establishment stooge. The fix is in. He is going to indict our president despite the facts, and he is going to spark a civil war in this country. This isn't going to be 1974 where conservatives sit back and let them depose our president. Not happening. Not happening.
By the way, that's not just confidence. I'm looking historically at the tea leaves and just gut feeling it. Just like they lost the election through arrogance, just like they tried to, they are literally about to enter their Waterloo. I don't think they realize what they're about to face because, I mean, the military's not putting up with it.
Well, the average patriot's not going to put up to it. They cannot usurp the rule of law, ignore the Constitution, let criminals like Bill and Hillary and Barack Obama go free after they've been caught red-handed wiretapping and stealing, and prosecute Donald Trump? Not going down that way.
It's like they arrogantly all convince each other in their criminal action, where they're all over the news saying, kill Trump, kill his family, and then this guy goes and starts shooting people, and they're trying to, like, spin that. I mean, don't they understand what they're doing? Don't they understand that most people aren't buying it? I mean, what are they thinking when they call for violence? Don't they know that the people that call for violence first lose?
I think that perhaps we underestimate the arrogance of the political establishment. If you've controlled events tightly for 30 years and you put down other pro-freedom insurrections in their view, why shouldn't you be able to put down this one? After all, they control the mainstream media, and they still don't recognize that they're losing power with every passing day. They're used to dictating the tune in this country through their control of both parties and the elites in both parties. And therefore, they may think that these tactics will still work. They may think they have the upper hand. As long as we have a free and vibrant alternative media, that won't be the case. Their only chance for success is to silence us here at InfoWars and at Breitbart and at Stone Cold Truth and at the Daily Caller and at every media outlet that isn't aligned.
Now enters Megyn Kelly. Look, I didn't do 15 minutes like Putin, so he totally kicked her ass. It was a profile. It was really an investigative hit piece. She interviewed me for 4 hours at least. I already saw the promo clip. They edited it out of context. It's not what I was even saying. What are they going to do, though, when I've got the tapes of what really happened? And then what are they thinking? Do you think it's a shill, a PR stunt, where they claim that people are really pulling their advertising just to give it hype, to try to prop up her failing flagging show where they lit me up from below with a flashlight? Or are they even turning on their own? Roger, you're an astute guy. What do you think's really happening with this Megyn Kelly fiasco?
A couple different things, Alex. First of all, I heard that they, like, held you in some safe house at 9 o'clock at night, jacked the heat up to 100 degrees.
10 o'clock at night, yeah.
In an obvious attempt, the way you're lit from below, this is all kind of pyrotechnics that should be obvious to people. Megyn Kelly's problem here is she has a giant backlash. She's doing this to screw you, but her left-wing buddies think that she's doing it and that you benefit from expanded exposure.
Yeah, they don't get it. They don't get we already got 50 times the exposure from their backlash. They're so stupid.
And Alex, I urge you to take the tape of her initial phone call to you and release it, because it wasn't privileged. I believe that's legal.
It's being prepared right now, my friend.
I mean, I believe that's legal in Texas, and people need to know, what this woman's like, what a viper she is. I had one of the top woman commentators at Fox tell me to my face, this woman is a dangerous, vicious, unprincipled climber.
Oh, listen, I was talking to her about 5 minutes, and she was coming on to me so hard, I thought, this is a setup. I got to record it. So I didn't even have an app to record on my phone. I had another office phone, so I was recording while I'm driving, and I said, let me get to the office in about 5 minutes and call you back. It was like a Saturday. I was up here working, so I called her back, and I've got the 2 phone calls, and Rob Dew's in there getting them downloaded right now. And, I mean, it's exactly what I remembered. I mean, you talk about, she was just, it was so over-the-top fake. Just, I'm so amazing, and she can't wait to meet me. And I kept saying, lady, you hate me. I'm not stupid. If you want to do the piece, fine. Stop acting like you're turned on by me. We all know you're not, okay? So it was just completely fake.
Yeah, look, she's a viper. But as Nietzsche said, that which does not kill you
only makes you stronger.
And the more people who realize that you're out there and you're speaking the truth and you're not afraid to take on this witch, and you know and you acknowledge right up front that they're going to edit the daylights out of the interview and they're going to take everything you say out of context, and therefore nothing you see can completely be believed, I still think you benefit. You're the guy who had the courage to get in the arena with this witch. Given her track record, Roger Ailes makes her career at Fox. She knifes him in the back with a completely false claim of sexual harassment.
Now let's expand. There was a Washington Post article today, not about me and Megyn Kelly, but just to understand media, and it was like Alex Jones preparing his audience for the interview. I knew it was a hit piece. I said before, I knew that they're so discredited, this only makes us bigger, because I thought there'd be a bunch of hype around it, not as big as I mean, it's bigger than I thought, but it's not us putting a good face on it. We know our regular audience doesn't care what she does or how she edits it. So we know we're just going to get some more new audience. It's a win-win. But I was there. I know it was said. She said things like, oh, you know, you talked about Newtown not happening. I hurt people's feelings. And I explained, no, I looked at all different angles. I didn't think it happened. But they staged the WMDs in Iraq, and they staged the babies in the incubators. So they've lied about babies before. And so, you know, none of the media cares about the 500,000 kids that died under expanded sanctions under the Clintons. Well, she just cut the end part about the Clintons and sanctions to make it sound like a dodge. I said, they've staged babies in incubators under Bush 1. And then they did it again, and Madeleine Albright said it was a good price to pay. So it could have been staged because they staged things. So she cuts it where it makes no sense. So that's what they did. And from the one clip they played, I know that's not what I said. It's chopped up.
Well, and these mainstream media morons refuse to acknowledge that the government has, throughout history, staged false acts. Perhaps someone remembered the Gulf of Tonkin attack on us, which never actually happened.
Got us into Vietnam.
And frankly, anybody who will examine the alleged gas attacks by Assad on his own people, which are completely illogical in view of the fact that he claims he's given up his chemical weapons.
But even the UN said it was a false flag.
And the Russians have vouched for him, so he's going to put his patrons at risk? Not a chance. That was done by our intelligence agencies as a provocation to pull on the president's heartstrings and go for a wholesale invasion of Syria. The president, way too smart for that, narrows this down to a surgical strike, and he makes his point on the world stage that we're not going to take any crap, but he doesn't buy their secret plan by General McMaster's, the Bilderberger insider who's burrowed into the Trump White House, to put 150,000
That's right.
troops on
I'm going to let you take over. Thanks for letting me jump in on you. Latest news at Infowars.com. But I promise to let Chris have a final comment from North Carolina before you take over. We have free shipping store-wide at InfoWarsStore.com on nutraceuticals, high-quality organic coffee, books, films, water filtration, non-GMO heirloom seeds. Your purchase makes it all possible. The globalists hate it. Thank you for your support. InfoWarsStore.com. Chris in North Carolina, you're on the air with StoneColdTruth.com host Roger Stone.
Yes, sir. I was just going to finish up with just saying that the reason it's called programming is because that's what they're doing to people. It's called radio programming because they're programming them. It's called, TV programming because they're programming you. You know, you guys are programming us with the truth. They're programming with the lies. And I just want to say, hopefully, y'all can keep the pressure. Y'all got them, man. Y'all have them.
You got them. Hey, listen, Chris, it's you, the listeners. I don't just say that to make you feel good. Without you, we're nothing, my friend.
Podesta's emails, WikiLeaks. Y'all got them. Y'all got to keep pushing those emails.
I agree.
Make Trump have to look into that, man, because they got them. WikiLeaks ain't been wrong. Those are some pedophiles. You want to get the Russia stuff over with, push those Podesta emails. Make them investigate that. Love you guys. Keep praying for you, and y'all both stay strong. All of y'all stay strong, man.
Thank you, Chris. You're awesome. I'm going to give Chris a show. Chris just said it all, and I'm going to end on this and hand the baton. Every day I wake up and I think this. What's old is new. We tend to get in the news cycle. I'm the worst about it, kind of OCD or kind of, ADHD, and obsess on what's new. Those emails, tens of thousands of them, with all the crime, all the corruption, the money laundering, the Clinton Foundation, the Clinton's daughter involved in it all, that's all there. They hope we forget about that. We need to bring all that back as greatest hits and hammer the hell out of it. In my gut, I know that's the victory. So what that caller just said is the key, Roger Stone.
Well, Alex, one of Stone's rules, and probably the most important one, which of course I purloined from Winston Churchill: attack, attack, attack. Barack Obama, Susan Rice, Valerie Jarrett, what did they know about the NSA's illegal spying on hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of Americans? That's unconstitutional. It's a crime. It's time for a grand jury and for us to go on the attack.
No, I agree. I've always followed your rules instinctively without knowing your rules. And the few times I tried to be journalistic and kind of back off when we were halfway wrong, they attacked me and made me weak. So I'm just like, oh, you don't want me to actually fix stuff to be honest. You just want to make me look bad. No more. No more. No more settling lawsuits. No more backing off. No more. I'm going back to my instincts. Attack, 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 attack to infinity for freedom. Roger Stone coming up.
Welcome back. I'm Roger Stone, sitting in for the much beleaguered but unbowed Alex Jones. The mainstream media assault on him continues unabated, yet I'm confident that as his interview with Megyn Kelly airs, people will see through the viciousness, the manipulation, and the true motives of Ms. Kelly and her failing NBC news show. I saw recently that reruns on CBS are pulling a much greater rating than Ms. Kelly. I want to be very clear about where we are headed in terms of the efforts to unseat our president. It's very important to understand exactly who Robert Mueller, the special counsel, colloquially called a special prosecutor, is. But above all, it's important to understand that Mr. Mueller was appointed solely on the authority and the direction of acting Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, meaning he was not appointed either at the direction of the president nor at the direction of the president's Attorney General, former Senator Jeff Sessions. Sessions recused himself from the entire Russian matter, in my opinion, unwisely, and evidently to the consternation of the president, who was unaware that that recusal was coming. We'll look at Mr. Rosenstein in just a moment, but first let's look at Mr. Mueller. This fellow was appointed, as I say, by Rosenstein. Mr. Mueller was James Comey's immediate predecessor as the FBI director, and he was appointed to that position by George W. Bush when he replaced his deputy. That wasn't the first time Mr. Comey and Mr. Mueller's paths would cross. In fact, I think it would be fair to call them cronies. We now know, incredibly, that Mr. Mueller met with and coached Mr. Comey before his Senate testimony in recent days, in which he falsely accused the president of obstruction of justice. We also know, historically, that Mr. Mueller has been a hitman and executioner for both the Clintons and the Bushes, proving that he is a loyal soldier of the deep state and the neocons who have dominated both parties essentially for the last 30 years. It was only recently that I was reminded that it was Mr. Mueller who removed all of the anti-Islamic terrorism information from the FBI's training manuals. So he is politically correct and has been part and parcel of the efforts within both the Bush and Clinton administrations to lay down to radical Islam. It is not just a question of Mr. Mueller's intention. Now we know that he is actively hiring Obama-era appointees from the Justice Department to aid in his investigation of the president. What is there to investigate? The facts are known. Legal scholars across the spectrum have made it clear that there is no obstruction of justice. So what gives? It's very simple. Mr. Mueller is determined to bring a charge of obstruction against the president regardless of the facts and regardless of the fact that he has no case. Having failed with his friends at the NSA and the CIA and the others in the intelligence community to make a case for Russian collusion to assist Donald Trump, a scandal for which there is still not to this day an iota of evidence that would hold up in American court of law, we now conjure this phony obstruction as a triggering point for the zanies in the left wing of the Democratic Party, bolstered by Mr. Soros, to trigger the insurrection on the ground, to destabilize the government and seek to remove Donald Trump in the kind of frenzy we saw surrounding the fall of President Richard Nixon. Now, while we focus on Mr. Mueller, I think it's important to take a look at Mr. Rosenstein, because looking at Rosenstein's background really informs us about the correctness of the sequence of events that I have just predicted to you. Mr. Rosenstein is an appointee of the Trump administration, but that does not mean, unfortunately, that he is a conservative or an anti-globalist, because, as we know, under the watchful eye of Reince Priebus, never-Trumpers have infiltrated the Trump administration at extraordinary levels. How else would one explain the presence of Dina Habib Powell, best friend of Valerie Jarrett, best friend of Huma Abedin, the right-hand woman and gal pal and vice chairman of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. And then the third BFF in this little group, Condoleezza Rice, the failed, discredited national security advisor to President George W. Bush, who helped lie our way into the Iraq War. Dean is a charter member of the Council on Foreign Relations. She is a charter former employee of the Bush White House, and she has Never Trump written all over her. Why is she in the Trump White House? Why, indeed, is she now the candidate of Jared Kushner and his wife, Ivanka Trump, to be Donald Trump's next chief of staff? Talk about jumping from the frying pan into the fire. You have establishment Republican Reince Priebus, who has no idea how Trump was elected and does not understand his base constituency in the country, and who has loaded the White House with Republican establishment quislings whose loyalty is not to the president, but to the Republican National Committee. We would go from that to an extreme neocon who throughout her entire career has opposed everything that Donald Trump stands for. In any event, Mr. Rosenstein, like Ms. Powell, has infiltrated this administration and has taken it upon himself to appoint a special prosecutor. And that special prosecutor, Mr. Mueller's job, is to take down our president. Again, the facts won't matter. Slate magazine said when Rosenstein was hired that he would be an adequate check against the extremely right-wing Jeff Sessions. The deep state mouthpiece, the Washington Post, often called the Washington Compost, called Rosenstein a fabulous choice for this position and one that should be completely free of controversy, claiming that Rosenstein is admired and respected. Well, when Slate and the Washington Post are praising you, you can bet you're an establishment insider. There's other things in Mr. Rosenstein's biography that send up red flags. Harvard Law, never good news. The Wharton School, well, that's a plus. That's where the president went. And then a clerkship in the U.S. Court of Appeals. But as you start digging into Mr. Rosenstein, the picture becomes darker. It turns out that Rosenstein and Mr. Mueller go way back, in fact, to the beginning of Rosenstein's career at the Justice Department in the 1990s. The word crony would not be too strong. And it is absolutely clear that both of these men have firm ties to the deep state. Both of them loyal vassals of the Bush machine. So Mr. Rosenstein went from being the hand-selected right out of Harvard deputy to Mr. Mueller to his new position in charge of the public integrity section of the criminal division back in the 90s, when he would move on from that job, none other than Robert Mueller, now in charge of the false investigation, or I should say, the investigation into the false Russian narrative, and who should appoint Mr. Mueller but, as I said, Mr. Rosenstein? Wait, it gets better. Rosenstein then moves on to become a cleanup man for, you guessed it, Bill and Hillary Clinton, serving as independent counsel from 1995 to 1997. Mr. Mueller, pardon me, not Mr. Rosenstein, supervised the investigation and found no criminal prosecution against White House officials who had rummaged through FBI records to get background reports for the use in political blackmail. So Mr. Mueller has done a great job of covering up for Bill and Hillary, and his service, like Mr. Comey's, goes back to the beginning. James Comey, as we know, gave the Clintons a pass in the Sandy Berger affair. That's when Berger stole National Archives records that would have proved that President Bill Clinton could have killed Osama bin Laden, but didn't. He gave the Clintons a pass in the Mark Rich case. You remember Mark Rich. He was the international billionaire fugitive who funneled several $1 million to the Clinton Foundation in return for a pardon. Of course, Prosecutor Comey, the man who first convicted Rich, found no illegality. Nobody went to jail. In fact, Mr. Comey goes all the way back to the Whitewater investigation. You may not remember Whitewater. It's a complicated real estate matter, but let me put it to you this way. No one involved got any money, but Bill Clinton got $850,000 with which to finance his comeback TV blitz when he went back to the governor's office. And because of the good work of Mr. Comey, no one was prosecuted in that matter either. So Mr. Mueller, Mr. Rosenstein, Mr. Comey, this is a matched set of cronies whose careers intersect. And that's why I say to you, this goose is cooked. This is a done deal. There will be a move on our president. Now, sadly, this week, Chris Ruddy, my friend from Newsmax, revealed that among the options he believed the president was looking at was firing Mr. Mueller. Not the worst idea I've ever had, that I've ever heard, pardon me. But I think now that the element of surprise has been removed and that it's probable that that was leaked to Mr. Ruddy by some on the White House staff in an effort to discredit the idea and perhaps to preclude from the president that option. My advice to the president, begin exposing who Mueller is today. Begin exposing his motives today. Begin exposing his history today. Because by the time he makes his phony recommendation, his public credibility will be at an all-time low. This is not Venezuela. This is Colombia. If you push patriots too far, you are going to create a spiral of violence and insurrection. If you jump the rule of law, if you cheat to try to remove this president, this country will experience a backlash like you have never seen. I want to remind you that we are continuing to have an ongoing fight with the tech left and their efforts to kneecap us here at InfoWars, and frankly at every alternative conservative media outlet, manipulating the algorithms and a dozen other tools being used by Amazon, by Yahoo, by Twitter, by Facebook, and above all, by Google, in an effort to stop us from communicating with you. And what we need you to do is to go to the Infowars.com store and support us through your purchase of the many fine products there. I have been pleased with everything I have ever ordered, but the standout today for me is their product Prostagard, which is 20% off. Now, I can tell you as a red-blooded American male over 60 that the plumbing really benefits from a beneficial blend of zinc, saw palmetto, and a number of other all-natural ingredients which promote urinary tract health. This is not a panacea. If you have a problem, see a physician. But from a prophylactic point of view, these natural herbs that can be found in Prostagard, almost all plant-based, by the way, but also the finest grade of zinc that you can purchase. This is, I think, de rigueur for any man over the age of 45. And I highly recommend the win-win situation of you're going to the InfoWars store, buying a product like Prostagard or Liver Shield, for example, which is 20% off. One of the best detoxifying products you will find out there, something that I used in the period after which I believe I was poisoned back around Christmas. You can get these products, and you will not only have the benefits, and you can look at the hundreds of testimonials of satisfied customers, and at the same time, you can help arm us for the fight against censorship, for the fight for liberty. The choice is yours, really. You can settle on CNN and Fox and CBS and ABC and CBS, and that can be your choice. That can be your fare. Or you can back us here at InfoWars, and we will continue to fight for the truth. We will continue to break through. We will continue to bring you the facts when the mainstream media brings you bullshit. We will continue to lay out for you so that you can repost and retweet our key links to spread the word about freedom. We need your help here at Infowars.com. We need your support. We exist because of you. Go to the store, give us your support, and we will continue the fight for freedom. Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm Roger Stone, sitting in for the great Alex Jones. There's chilling new developments in the tech left's war on free speech and on a free, open internet. See, they want to crack down on the alternative voices that are featured here at InfoWars and that you've come to rely on from Stone Cold Truth. Facebook, in accord with its diverse strategic plan to eliminate, quote, fake news, has rolled out its latest bag of tools designed to censor information that arrives in users' news feeds that they are uncomfortable with. Retweaked algorithms will now filter out clickbait stories that Facebook has decided leave out and exaggerate facts. Other storylines that Facebook finds objectionable will now be tagged with a disputed label. And what about links to web pages that Facebook has determined have little substance or contain disruptive, shocking, or malicious advertisements, such as, shall we say, the truth? Well, they will be relegated either entirely off the page or segregated perpetually at the bottom of the feed with little chance of changing anyone's mind. This is the tech left's idea of free speech. Chilling. Leftist foundations were the primary financiers of this effort. Soros and the Ford Foundation poured nearly $200 million into the coffers of so-called open internet advocates, but they too were joined by the Silicon Valley monopolies like Google and Facebook, who recognized regulation as further leveraging their monopoly and their control of the internet. Self-serving and symbiotic, this was a strategy guaranteed to boost their already obscene wealth while advancing their left-wing, godless, globalist agenda. Helped, of course, that companies like Google owned the Obama White House, with Google officials visiting the White House more than 425 times, with more than 258 Obama administration officials. Executives had essentially a revolving door into the Obama administration. Folks, this is the war that confronts us. They will make every effort to kneecap us here at InfoWars, which is why I exhort you one more time. Go to the InfoWars.com store and support us by buying a T-shirt or my book, The Making of the President 2016, or Prostagard, or any of the outstanding products. Give us your support, and we will continue the fight for freedom. I'm speaking this Friday at the Expo, the Cannabis Expo in New York City at the Javits Center. If you are for freedom and support the 29 states that have legalized cannabis, you might want to come out. But let me finish with this key thought: victory or death. I'm Roger Stone, with many thanks for joining us here at InfoWars. And again, go to the InfoWars store, folks. This is the struggle of our times.